Hello, I'm Benjamin Limmer, Bureau Chief for Public Transportation at the Connecticut Department of Transportation. And I'd like to welcome you to Along the Lines, a podcast series where we'll share exciting news and updates and explore current issues and ideas on Connecticut's public transportation system. On this episode of Along the Lines, I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Eric Jackson, Executive Director of the Connecticut Transportation Institute at UConn and Director of the Connecticut Transportation Safety Research Center. The Connecticut Transportation Institute, sometimes called CTI, brings together UConn's Advanced Pavement Lab, the Transportation Safety Research Center, as well as the Training and Technical Assistance Center. Collectively, these three programs advance research, safety analysis, innovation, and workforce training to strengthen Connecticut's transportation industry as a whole. Dr. Jackson holds a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from the University of Kentucky and a Master's and PhD from the University of Connecticut. His research focuses on enhancing Connecticut's crash data collection, expanding public access to safety analysis tools, and integrating crash, roadway, and social data to fully implement highway safety manual methods through UConn's roadway safety management systems. Through his work, Dr. Jackson is helping shape data-driven approaches to transportation safety and innovation across the state. Welcome to the program, Dr. Jackson.
Thank you for having me. Excited to have a chat.
All right. So, first things first, I have to ask, what sparked your interest in civil engineering, and when did you realize that you would focus on transportation?
Well, for myself, the interest in civil engineering started really young. I had a fifth grade teacher that came in one afternoon and showed a video of what structural engineers were and what it took to design and build roller coasters. And I can vividly remember that video, and at that point, essentially saying, "This is what I want to do with the rest of my life. I want to build roller coasters." Cut forward to my time at the University of Kentucky. I took my first structural engineering class and realized that structural engineering was not for me. But then I kind of continued with the engineering degree and actually started doing research with a transportation faculty member. And that really got me interested in a lot of things in how cars move, how traffic flows, and how do we look at safety and how do we get people safely from point A to point B. And it really truly was that interaction with doing research as an undergraduate that got me really interested in the transportation system. And then I followed that professor to the University of Connecticut, and then got my degrees here at UConn and have stuck around ever since, and now lead one of the centers here in the state that's kind of revolutionizing crash data and analytics for the whole country.
Hey, so all of us take a unique path into transportation, and I have never in my life heard roller coasters. That's fantastic. I'm assuming it's Kings Island, but
Yes, I spent many a summers at Kings Island. Love roller coasters.
yeah, we might have been there at the same time, but I won't bore everyone with that. So, can you walk us through the core missions of the Connecticut Transportation Institute and its Transportation Safety Research Center, and really how their work supports our public transportation system throughout our state?
Absolutely. Fairly straightforward. So the goal of the Connecticut Transportation Institute, which was founded in 1974, so we're actually celebrating 50 years of service here in the state of Connecticut, was really to support the Connecticut DOT and to support the state in anything transportation related, primarily in the research and education piece. The Transportation Safety Research Center I founded in 2012 through a partnership with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. Its goal and mission is very simple as well, to really reduce or eliminate traffic injuries and fatalities. That sounds very simple in theory. In practice, it is very, very difficult. So some of the ways that we approach that is through data analytics, data analysis. But one of the primary services we provide for the Connecticut DOT is working with law enforcement, designing the crash report form, designing, if you're involved in a motor vehicle crash and the police show up to fill out a report, that form was designed here at UConn in partnership with the Connecticut Department of Transportation, and we collect that data, pull it in, and then start analyzing that data. So really and truly, data drives everything that we do, with the ultimate goal and mission of no one loses their life on Connecticut roadways, and that the injuries are minimized. And we look at both human factors, human behavior, but we also look at the infrastructure side on how do we build our infrastructure better, and then how do we do some social engineering to really try and stop those bad behaviors from occurring.
Hey, all right. Fun facts. Yeah, so let's look forward a little bit. What emerging technologies, research areas, or strategic partnerships does CTI prioritizing to build a transportation system that's really more resilient, equitable, and sustainable, let's just say over the next 5 years?
So we work closely with the DOT. Some of the key areas we're working on, kind of forward facing, connected and automated vehicles. So vehicles that can talk with infrastructure, vehicles that can talk with each other, really looking at how humans kind of interact with those cars and how much information coming back from that car is too little, too much. I think if you've driven a car that has been built in the last 5 years, there are so many alerts, alarms, buzzers that go off in that car. Really trying to understand kind of what kind of workload are we putting on individuals, but also can we build cars that are able to avoid and prevent being involved in a crash? So what does that take? What are the systems that are necessary? How do we convince people to kind of release some of that control to a vehicle and let the computer drive? We all have computers that will crash on us at one point or another. How do we start building some of that trust that's necessary for people to trust that that car is going to stop at a red light or stop at the car that's stopped in front of them? Really, kind of that's where we're headed. Is how do we start embedding technology into everything that we do so that we can stop those crashes from occurring and take the driver out of the driver's seat and kind of make those drivers superhuman in their abilities to avoid crashes.
Superhuman. Love it. Safety first, of course. Curious, of all the progress made recently in Connecticut's public transportation, what developments really stand out to you as the most encouraging and why?
So I've been working with the DOT on a couple of different projects in the public transit space and other spaces. Really, kind of in the public transit space, we've been working with the CT Fast Track, looking at ways to upgrade some of the traffic signals that are there. I work very closely with public transit and starting to analyze crashes that are occurring within the CT Fast Track area. As those buses kind of go through those signals and they have signal prioritization, and the signals can notice that a bus is coming and turn the lights red, we still have people that are running, drivers that are running the lights and being involved with crashes with buses. And sometimes you have buses that don't see the light and are involved in crashes. So how can we kind of build in some of that technology into those transit features to try and make those areas safer? We've also worked with some senior design groups. I think one of the first senior design projects that I sponsored here at the university was how do we build better bus shelters? So how do we make places that people are feel safe? How do we build structures and shelters as they're waiting for a bus that's resilient to being broken, or glass that's being shattered? And we had several seniors kind of design some new bus stop designs for the DOT. And kind of lastly, one of the things that I think is really important, and I know the DOT has started to roll this out, is just kind of a unified fare system, so that transfers are less difficult if you've got to transfer between different modes or different buses. The ability to do that seamlessly and easily, I think, is really a way to encourage ridership and to encourage that equity piece. If you can make it easy for a person to get from point A to point B, that ridership is going to increase, and kind of that demand and stress trying to get from your home to your location is greatly reduced.
Absolutely. I can tell you the team here at the Connecticut DOT is extremely excited about all three. The bus shelters is a huge priority, and we're looking forward to starting to roll those out this fall. And then, yeah, you hit the nail on the head with the unified fare. I mean, accessing our transit system needs to be made as easy as possible. And certainly want to thank you for your efforts supporting that and helping us get going. So looking forward to it. Switching gears a little bit, I know CTI has established a testing ground at UConn's Depot campus for autonomous shuttles and partnered on driverless bus pilots. What key lessons have you learned so far about integrating autonomous vehicles into our existing transit infrastructure?
I think the first thing that I have learned is that this is way more complicated than most people kind of thought or predicted. You would think that with the technology that we have today, that you could kind of quickly and easily we see the Elon Musks and the Googles and the Waymos, and they're throwing cars out there, and they're magically driving all over the roadway. But when you try and do this at scale, and when you try and do pilots, the amount of coordination that is required between the physical infrastructure, the buses themselves, the hardware that's on the cars, all the communication that needs to take place, and then you get into the litigation and liability piece. It's more than just the physical hardware on the vehicle itself. Policy comes into play. It's extremely complicated to do these deployments and to do them successfully. And you've got to get a very large group of stakeholders to get together and get them all to agree, which is next to impossible to do at this point. Very, very difficult to get everybody to kind of agree with kind of rules, regulations, and how these will roll out. So what seems to be something that would be easy to roll out or has already been done in other places, wherever you go there's new challenges, and it makes it very difficult to do these type of deployments on a case by case basis.
Absolutely spot on. The Training and Technical Assistance Center provides hands on training for transit planners, public works staff, traffic staff. What topics are most in demand, and how is that training improving day to day public transportation operations throughout the state?
So the Training and Technical Assistance Center here at CTI does an absolutely amazing job of getting out into the communities, pulling in a diverse group of people for all different types of training. So some of the trainings that they do offer, the leadership program that they roll out, I think is absolutely amazing for staff across Connecticut that are in public works or even in law enforcement, to go through with a cohort or group to learn what it means to be a leader, how to be an effective leader. It really kind of sets the stage for, if you're going to advance through your career, here are some skills that will help you advance in your career. And that's what the T2 Center is really focused on. It's workforce development. It's helping improve safety. So they do like flagger certifications for work zones. Those are the people that you see with the stop and slow signs. They do traffic signal training to help engineers out in the field work on traffic signals. And then they do local traffic authority programs. So this is educating kind of that first selectman, educating authorities within, maybe it's the chief of police, on what their role and responsibility is within the physical infrastructure or transportation system within their town. So really and truly, they're on the front lines of trying to get information, skills updates out to all of these people that are in our communities, constantly working tirelessly day after day on whether it's construction or engineering projects, bringing that kind of refresh of skills and enhancing their abilities to move up and promote within their careers. It's an amazing service they provide for the state of Connecticut.
Hey, no doubt. Absolutely. So, Dr. Jackson, can you share with our listeners how CTI collaborates with the Connecticut Department of Transportation and what makes that partnership successful?
The way that my partnership started with the Connecticut DOT was there was an open public meeting, there was an open discussion of some of the needs that the department had, and I kind of walked away from that meeting going, all right, how can UConn help the DOT in those areas which there was need? And then it started as a conversation. So a lot of the work that we do with the Connecticut DOT, we're in constant communication, constant understanding where some of the pain points that may exist within the DOT and where some of the skills and resources may be lacking. So we have a workforce development task force that we work with on the Connecticut DOT, really trying to how do we produce the next generation or next level of engineers. So it's that constant communication, constant contact. Last Friday, we brought over, I think it was 15 people from the Connecticut DOT. We had 40 faculty from the College of Engineering, and we sat down for about 2 hours and just kind of had a brainstorming session on where are areas or directions the DOT would like to go? Where are some of the expertise that we have within the university that could fill in some of those holes? And we kind of walked away with some action items and to do lists and things that we could then work with the DOT on to help the DOT push their mission forward, and at the same time get our students some hands-on real world expertise and skills and experience so that when they graduate, they're going into the DOT or even consultant firms with some expertise and some skills that will help the state move forward, and help kind of keep that partnership going between the two. So really and truly, it comes down to the ability to meet and collaborate and just talk and listen to see what the other groups have to offer to the partnership moving forward.
Hey, can't wait to hear about what's next with that. That's certainly great to know. Last question, have to ask, if you had the chance to greenlight one of your most ambitious CTI initiatives, say tomorrow, what would it be and what impact would you hope to see of it?
This is definitely very, very future forward, future looking. The ability to have the vast majority of cars out on the roadway connected and communicating with each other in some way, shape, or form. The ability to know that if that car in front of you applies its brakes, your car already knows that person is applying their brakes before the taillights even come on and your car starts to slow down. Kind of that connected infrastructure that really works to promote safety, but at the same time, intermodality. So, as you are traveling from one place to the next, the ability for your vehicle to know kind of what the train schedule is, or to know what the bus schedule is, or to know what the signal timing is, kind of that smart car of the future that really prevents crashes from occurring, but has the ability to monitor roadway conditions and monitor traffic and truly understand kind of how traffic is flowing and things of that nature. So it's extremely ambitious, and I know that there's companies out there that are working on it at this point. But our biggest challenge is that fleet of vehicles, like the average vehicle age now has gotten much longer. We're I think at 12 to 14 years old. So that turnover of vehicle fleet is going to be a challenge when we start rolling out new technologies. How do you get the vast majority of that fleet over into the latest and greatest software package or latest and greatest sensors that are on the car itself? I think that would be one of my greatest things that hopefully I get to see in my lifetime is the ability that these vehicles do create superhumans when they're driving, and we are able to kind of eliminate motor vehicle crashes.
Absolutely. I mean, you certainly picked one of the most ambitious ones, but I don't think there's any argument about the overall positive impact that it could have on our state as well as the nation. So, well, I'd like to close. Thank you, huge thank you, Dr. Jackson, for joining us and really sharing your insights and, of course, how you got into transportation, but also on how CTI's partnership with the Connecticut DOT is really transforming our public transportation system. So, thank you once again.
Thank you for having me. It was great to sit down and talk.
The Connecticut Department of Transportation's partnership with CTI is reshaping the future of transportation in Connecticut by building a system that's more resilient, equitable, and sustainable. CTI's advanced crash data analytics are helping transit agencies quickly identify safety concerns and make important decisions. Their immersive training programs are equipping planners, public works crews, and traffic professionals with the knowledge and confidence to solve everyday challenges. And with cutting edge autonomous vehicle research well underway, Connecticut is preparing for the future. For a deeper dive into CTI's groundbreaking work, including data tools, training opportunities, research updates, and pilot progress, be sure to visit transportation.uconn.edu. Once again, that's transportation.uconn.edu. You can also follow at UConn CTI on social media for the latest news and announcements. Thanks for listening to this episode of Along the Lines. This is your host, Benjamin Limmer. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please remember to subscribe and share.